Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Appelboom Bites podcast. Today we're here with episode number 7, and this is a really special episode because this is the first episode without Aziza aka Gourmet Pants, because I would like to introduce a new co-host of the show. It is David Parker aka Figboot on Pants. Welcome, David.
Thank you. We kicked Azizas out.
Yeah.
We kicked her out of here.
So, welcome, David. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are things over in Europe right now?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's great to have you on the show. I'm really looking forward to the upcoming weeks, having you as the co-host and having interesting stories with you. And the first
well, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. The first guest with you as a co-host is a very special guest. It's a guest all the way from Italy. Many of you know him already. It is Luca Baglione from Scribo. Welcome, Luca.
Hello. Hi everybody. Hi yours. Hi David. Thank you for your invitation.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you here. I'm really happy.
My pleasure.
Yeah, before we start the show, we always do the Pencheck.
The Pencheck.
David, would you like to start to kick off the Pencheck?
Yeah. One of the things I really love about this hobby is when you discover an individual artisan who does some cool and amazing work. And maybe a little over a year ago, I discovered an artisan out of Wales, and the name is Rockster Pens, and I purchased one of these models here. It is a nice burled maple. Where it's dyed and then infused with resin. And so it's kind of a resin wood combination. And the colors on this pen are just amazing.
It looks good.
I actually just purchased a second one of these pens in a slightly different design in blue. And it's being shipped to me as we speak. But it's just one of my favorite pens just because it looks so much different than anything else in my collection, and I kind of like things that are different, and so that's really been worth the while, and I really enjoy this pen from Rockster Pens.
Yeah, I love the colors.
Yeah, it's just something really unique and interesting. And it's one of those pens that's really attention grabbing. Like if I go to a show, I'll usually carry a pen around with me. So if someone says hi, I might just show them something. And this is one that I would carry around with at a show, because if you see it for the first time, you're kind of like, wow, and you want to check it out and take a look at the maple and the different patterning. And so it's kind of a nice conversation starter. And that's good for a pen to be a conversation starter as well.
True, that's true. Luca, what pen do you carry with you today?
Well, I was thinking about carrying something we did, but at the end I chose to bring something that we are going to make. We are going to release a new pen. I mean, a couple of new pens. I have one with me today, and it's our last release for this year. And we started with 3 colors of the Feel at the beginning of 2022, and we're gonna close the year with a couple of new color of the Feel. We did a lot in the middle, of course, but this is our flagship collection, and I have here with me a pen that is made in resin. We're going to the holiday season. We're facing the holiday season. We're probably cheering with some wine or something like that, and we are choosing to make these 2 pens. Especially this one is inspired by the wine must, and yeah, I mean, it's a cracked ice with black, red, yellow, and some kind of gold.
It's beautiful.
It's a color that we miss in our collection, and we love it as soon as we saw it for the first time, and we decided to make it one. So yeah, this is the Feel must.
Mast?
Do you have a like preference?
M-U-S-T.
Oh, must.
It's,
okay.
Yeah, must.
Yeah.
Like
Like an
the
odor.
wine must, yeah, to prepare wine. So let's cheer.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's a
What's your
nice wine.
favorite? What's your
I
favorite
love it.
wine, Luca?
I really love
Luca,
it.
what's your favorite wine?
My favorite wine. My favorite wine is a wine from Puglia. It's a region in Italy, and this is a kind of daily wine. It's a red one. It's a Primitivo. I don't know if you're familiar with.
No.
And then I love sparkling white wine from Franciacorta. It's a region up north Italy, let's say in between Milan and Venice, more or less, just to give a geographical idea of the place. They are kind of similar to Champagne in some way, a little bit more dry than Champagne. I love them. So these are the two. How about you?
David, I don't drink alcohol at all, so I don't
You know
like
what?
that.
I am just not a big wine aficionado. I have nothing against it. It's just not one of the things that I'm really into. So I'm not educated enough about it to have kind of a favorite. I will say I did watch a documentary all about some sommeliers that was fascinating, and it was a bunch of people that were going through like the highest level of sommelier rating that you could possibly get, and an incredibly difficult school that you had to go through and a test that you had to. It was these people practicing for this test, and it was like, like at the end they were given 3 or 5 wines or something like that, and you had to identify the region and the grapes and everything, and they were able to identify within a few miles just by the tones and the soil and things like that they could get through. And it was kind of amazing that they could identify wines by taste alone, and that their palates were so refined. And some people may pass the test and some people didn't, but it was interesting to see that world.
Maybe we should also have
It's an
like
interesting
this with
word. It's
inks,
very
ink sommeliers.
well, but there is also some kind of. I think there's some common point with pens drinking
Yeah.
wine. I mean, there is a ceremony behind, like filling a pen or open a bottle and let the bottle of wine breathe. Like you wait for a pen for the ink flow to adjust, let air goes through the feed. So, I mean, there's a lot of common points, like smoking a cigar with a ceremony behind. I mean, it's something that requires time.
It's like an appreciation for more than just the physical object. It's everything that object represents, and the pleasure that it can bring. And so it's not just a bottle of wine. It's this specific bottle of wine from this specific region that has a specific story behind it that makes it more than just a regular bottle of wine. And the very same thing can be said for pens, like you said as well.
Yeah.
Luca, you also had, but I'm not sure now if it was wine or not, the limited edition that was launched recently, the Scribo La Tradizionale.
Oh no. Yeah, there is no link to wine, but to another Italian specialty in some way that is really coming from our area, Emilia, the area surrounding Bologna, especially Modena. It's a city just close to Bologna. And with that pen, we celebrated the history of the balsamic vinegar of Modena, which is a kind of black gold. And this is the pen. And it's a pen that comes from oak wood that comes from the barrel where balsamic vinegar rests for up to 35 years for the extra old one. We made this pen in cooperation with an international star chef who is Massimo Bottura. He has a restaurant in Modena. And the story about this pen is really long. We started working on this pen just before the bad story of COVID. and it was a very long development in a way, like making balsamic vinegar. And we just released like a
It
month
also
ago.
seems like a
And,
difficult
well, the pen
material
is
to
rich.
work with.
Well, we had some experience working with oak wood. We did 3 or 4 limited edition in wood that was actually linked to wine wort, and we took advantage of that know-how to develop this pen, and it's great. I mean, the pen comes together with a 100 ml bottle of tradizionale, aceto balsamico tradizionale, extra old, and it's a concept that tells a story about time, about waiting, about keeping things aging, and I mean patience.
I think it's a
In a
beautiful
way,
set together.
like handwriting in a way.
Now, is that from actual old casks, or is it just the wood, the same wood that they use in the casks?
No. It's original old barrel that are too old for being used to storage balsamic vinegar, and at the same time they are so old enough that they are dry enough to be cut in parts and making the components for pens.
Now, does
So
some of
it's
that vinegar actually get absorbed into the wood, and does
yeah
that
you
pose any
yeah that
problems?
can you see how the color change?
Yeah.
Each pen is a different color or on a different facets, because these barrel were cutted, and of course they were very dark. There was kind of crystallized balsamic vinegar, so we had to clean it out, but some parts remained kind of darker. And each pen is really different from the other because of the reason you mentioned.
I like the pens like that have elements like that. It kind of brings it to life. It's not just an inanimate object, that you can kind of envision its old life, and that, you know, what it's done previously. And those are interesting elements to incorporate.
It has an extra story behind it. That's pretty
And
cool.
we can bring some kind of dead material to a new life for a new use. And well, it was fun. And let me tell you something more. With this pen, we are very happy to finance the Food for Soul, which is a no-profit organization owned by Massimo Bottura, our partner for this project. So we donate for each pen sold the 5%, which is an amount to finance their activities in prevent food wasting.
Oh, that's a great cause. That's really good. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall we go to my pen check before we forget it? Because I have a really beautiful one here with me. Luca, you recognize it, of course, immediately.
I recognized it, and you can tell me something.
Will you tell something about it, or will I do
it? I have a question for you later on. You go.
What kind of question? How many facets on it, or not really facets, but how many stripes are on it?
No, that would be not easy to answer. The question is how much the pen looks different from the pictures to the reality. I mean, this is a kind of pen that is really hard to shoot. And I think the lights, the brightness it brings in real is much different than what you can see on pictures. I realized this as soon as we introduced this pen. There was the first order, people asked for it, blah, blah, blah. But then we got a percentage of replenishment order much higher than before. It's going to be sold out, I think, in, I don't know, a few days.
Yeah.
You tell me what you think.
We have plenty of stock, so no worries. So this is the studio room it was launched together with the Domus, and it has a really nice story behind it. But Luca, you can tell that later. I'm getting more into the specific features of the pen. We all know the feel. The feel has the facets on it, and what's really special about this one is that it has these stripes on it, which you can really feel. It's really hard to make pictures of it or show it on a camera, but that feeling of those stripes in it is pretty amazing. And the color, so it's yellow with ruthenium details. It is unique, and it's indeed correct, Luca. It's really hard to take pictures of this because or the picture will be too bright or too dull. So it's really difficult to show this on a screen how it looks like. The best thing to do is just go to our pen store and find it out yourself. But if you're not able to do that yet, just order it, I think, and then wait till you have it in your hands and decide. But the combination is amazing. And what I have on this pen is your famous flex nib. It's the 14 karat gold fine flex nib. So that's also worth mentioning. But Luca, can you tell a little bit more about the background story of it?
No,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sorry.
yeah.
Is that the? I'm looking at it on your website, Joost. Is that the Studiorum? Is that what that one is?
Yes.
Which
Yes.
one
Yes.
is that?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, the yellow one. Okay, I just wanted
Yeah.
to get a close up look at it.
Yeah.
Looks
But
beautiful.
as you can tell, the stock pictures, which Dries beautifully made, pencil case block. It's just it's different than I'm showing it right now in the camera. So it's really hard.
I think it all depends on how the light hits it, and I kind of like that the grooves on it are not they're not consistent. It's not just like evenly spaced. It almost looks like
definitely
a
not.
paintbrush
Definitely not.
type feel in it.
No,
And,
it's
interesting.
not a let's say basic engraving. It's an hand mill.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's impossible to have same kind of hand mill on each pen. And what I was telling before that was really impossible for Dries, who I always thank for his fantastic job on shooting, is to catch the lights into the depth of the pen. That was the hard part, I think. And yeah, and I think it's really hard for any photographer, even professional one, to get it. I mean, even the black one, on the black one, if I move the pen, you can see some brights and some kind of matte imaging catching on a photograph. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And black
But the
pens
pen is
are even more
beautiful,
difficult to take pictures of.
You're right. And well, the story of this pen is nice. It's La Dotta is our collection that we introduced a year ago. And La Dotta is one of the name of Bologna because of the university. With this collection, we talk about something about our city. Our city gave us a lot, and with this collection, we try to give something back to our territory, to our city. And La Dotta talks about the colors of the porticos at night, and those special colors that you can see in the ancient times when the porticos were wooden made only, and they were very dark, and you can see just upstairs in the room with the light of a candle, students that were studying. So you have this kind of contrast between very dark black done with the porticos and the studiorum of students that were attending the university. And again, I mean, even nowadays in some small area of the city, you can see some. Probably you saw yours, I think, when you were in Bologna
I noticed.
a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. some wooden porticos. They still are as they were like 300 years ago, 3 centuries ago, and it's a special atmosphere. It's like walking in Venice when the fog is high. I mean, every city has a soul, and I think the soul of Bologna is walking on the porticos at night and see the lights above you. It's special.
Yeah, it's really something unique. Before we go,
Yeah, you, David, have another reason to visit
yeah,
Italy soon.
David,
Yes,
you definitely have
for
to
the
visit
most
Bologna.
part. For the most part, cities in the United States don't have as much soul and history. That a lot of them look a little bit more cookie cutter. Now, there's certain ones that
Except
stand
for
out, but
Boston,
I
of
think
course.
that's,
Boston is the greatest city in the U.S.
well, maybe one store, but but it seems like a lot of the cities in Europe that I visited, and I'm especially in Italy that I'd really love to visit sometime. It just seems like you said, there's more to it than just buildings. There's a story behind it, and there's a history behind it. I mean, we don't in the U.S. we don't have anything that's 300 years old as far as a building goes over here, and so it's to just know something has been around for that long and survived. There has to be a reason for it. Why is this particular building or this thing still around after 300 years? It's because it's been used. It's been important. It's something that people have lived in for that long, and it's just kind of amazing to have that more of a history as opposed to just seeing another strip mall on the corner that I have a tendency to see.
Yeah, but sorry if I can tell you something about that. We love aged places, ancient city, middle-aged city like Bologna is, because on the other side we live in very modern city. So it's the contrast that highlights this kind of beauty. So we need the two. I mean, we cannot live with one only, and that's great. That when I just traveled to the US a month ago, and it's amazing. I mean, you have something different to offer, not
The
historical
contrasts are
places.
just really interesting.
Yeah.
And you know what? I like visiting in the United States. I like visiting cities where you are at, if that makes sense. To where when you are at New York City, you're in New York City. When you're in Miami, you're in Miami. When you're in Southern California, you know it. Then there's kind of a lot of other cities to where you could be in a dozen cities and they're all kind of the same. I don't enjoy those as much. I kind of enjoy the ones to where there's more to it than just just the people and buildings, that you kind of get a whole feel for the atmosphere. And I get a feeling like, especially over in Italy in your area, that there's just a lot of cities like that, to where maybe to the Westerner they might look very similar in kind of their old structure, but that some of the northern cities are much more different than some of the southern cities and things like that. And I look
But I
forward
think
to
it's the
kind of
same
discovering those
with writing
differences.
instruments, right? So, for example, if you have a Scribo in your hand, you really recognize this. Okay, this is a Scribo. But there are other brands. It's more like copy paste each other and doing everything the same. But if you have a Scribo in your hands, it's like, okay, this is something different. This is something unique. So when Scribo was introduced a few years ago, I was really happy because it was something different. It was something that was not in the market yet. And I would really like to thank Luca for that, because without that we would all have like the same copy paste pens that all other brands already have. So I'm really grateful for that, Luca.
Thank you.
And something that's also really unique of Scribo is, of course, there's nibs. I don't know another brand that has a triple broad nib, or an extra fine is more common, but triple broad, nobody has it. And a few days ago, we posted a picture of the two kind of nibs that you can have on your Scribo, and everything in between. And I noticed a comment of Scribo underneath it that more nibs are coming. Luca, now that we are talking.
But I didn't write that, so I don't know. Yeah, well, you can easily imagine there's a spot in between the B and the triple B, so that would be the most easiest to fulfill in a way.
Okay.
So the double B will be part of the range soon. But yeah, well, I can tell you this. I mean, I think I have still to learn a lot about grinding nib, and that is my in a way my target for next year. It's improving my skills on making custom nibs, and any custom nib that we will be able to make will be a kind of new nib. So that's the area of improvement for us, and it's a big area of improvement.
Yeah.
I will do my best. I will do my best.
I think it's one of those things where the companies lately that have really succeeded with custom nibs is coming up with something new and unique that you could only get with that particular pen. And if it's something that is a fairly unique grind, then people then associate your pen and your brand with that unique grind. And there's a lot of people out there that seek that out. It is amazing because I mean, I'm not professing to be an expert when it comes to manufacturing, but it almost seems like manufacturing pens is one thing, but manufacturing nibs is like a completely different beast.
Yeah,
And to
that's
be able
something
to do
completely
both
different.
is, I'm sure, provides some very interesting challenges since they are such different types of production.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely true. I mean, nib customization requires, in a way, much more time, and it's a very delicate work. And I think yours, you have a good colleagues, a good woman with you that works on nib grinding. She's
Yeah.
very good, and
We were really happy
I
with
mean,
her, Annabelle.
yeah. I think the secret is, I mean, the secret, I think that the target is trying to give something different in between a very wide range of nibs. And there is a lot of nibs in the market, like the Zoom nib or the Architect nib or the Arabic nibs. The, you can find in many versions. So, which is the real architect nib? Nobody has the answer. So, as you said, we have to find our recipe to make something that link the way we make the architect nib to Scribo. If you like it, that's good. If you prefer another finishings, another another craftsmanship, you're not wrong. You know what I mean? It's not easy to. It's not possible. Sorry, it's not easy. It's not possible to close in a standard box even the custom nibs. So making a zoom nib could have 10 different versions.
Yeah.
But we still need to find a way to improve our skills on these. And as said, this is what I'm going to do for next year, our school of nib grinding. This is what we want to offer. Our flexible nib, I think it's in a way the reason why we were so lucky to find a spot in the market. Not because of us, of course. They come from a long story, which we have not write actually, or at least we just write the last few years. Thomas and flexible nibs come from Thomas' expertise. But again, I think there is still something we can do around flexible nib. For example, we do not have an extra fine flexible nib that would be great to make, or we don't have a double broad, or we don't have a kind of I think it's very hard to custom flexible nib because they are very delicate. The pressure must be ruled in some way. So there's a big area of improvement. And when I think of that, I really have a headache. We have a lot of things to learn and to do.
Well, I can
There's still a
imagine
lot of
it's
opportunities.
one thing to make a handful of nibs. Yeah, it's one thing to make a handful of nibs, but it's something else when you have to make 1,000 of them or 2,000 of them. It's different than, you have to think of the we'll call it mass production aspect of it as well, and as opposed to just making a handful of things.
Yeah, that is not our case. As you can imagine, we will just make it everything at our desk, one by one, according to customer request. So a kind of artisanal job. And I would love to talk again in a year and say, yes, we did it. I hope so.
Yeah, that would be great. Luca, is it correct that every nib that leaves the Scribo factory have you seen, right? Have you seen,
Sorry,
or at
I didn't
least
catch you.
have you had in your hands every nib that leaves Scribo?
Yeah, every pen. So every nib that belongs to that pen has been tested with writing test for 1 A4 page and a half.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Every single pen.
Mm-hmm.
Every single pen.
No, that's really important, I think.
Yeah. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of time.
Yeah, but it takes more time if it is not good, and then it has to come back and it has to be fixed, and it's a bigger problem.
Yeah, reliability is the question. Mm-hmm. We must be reliable. And what we offer, we don't offer everything. We are not the best in the world. We just do something. Mm-hmm. A few of the pen world, but what we do, we try to do at our best. So we must be reliable.
Yeah, having something that's reliable is a key, because it could take, if you have an issue that gets out into the world or the market, that it takes a very, very long time for the market to then forget about that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have that type of image to where people think of, they had these problems. You want to make sure that everything is fantastic, because even though you might have just had a problem for, one small batch for a week, little problems like that could last forever. So it's worthwhile to spend that extra time to make sure that everything coming out of the factory is absolutely perfect, or as perfect as you could possibly make it.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely, yes.
Yeah. And I can confirm that of the Scribo pens that we sell, and Luca, we sell a lot of them, I think we never get one back.
You do a great job.
Yeah, I think we never, maybe over the years, 1 or 2 came back with some issues, but that's about it. But it's not worth mentioning, because it's like almost nothing. At least, some other brands that we have, it's a gamble. We ship it out and it's like 50% if it comes back or not with a problem. So no, with Scribo, that's definitely not the case. Luca, is there something else that you would like to announce as a new product that's launching besides the pen that you carry with you today?
Well, not specifically.
Because you had a lot of launches.
There is something. Yeah, it was a tough year. It was a tough year, and looks like next year it's gonna be even harder. We're working on a new collection. Hopefully we will be able to release at the end of next year with a brand new filling system. Totally brand new filling system.
This is really exciting. This is something that we can look forward to. So it's a completely new model,
brand new
new filling mechanism,
new shape,
wow,
new design, and new filling system.
Now, is this a new filling system for your brand, or something that you feel is new to the market in general?
Both.
Oh, cool! Looking forward to seeing what that is.
Yeah. So is it?
But I cannot go into detail at the moment with testing.
Okay.
Maybe the guy there in the middle. I think it's not a secret that we're gonna meet soon, right? We're gonna meet in. You know about that? We are gonna meet
Yeah.
at the end of
I
November.
think in a few weeks, right? 2
It
weeks.
looks
something
like you
that.
don't know that.
Yeah. No.
Surprised.
No, Peter told
This
me.
is news.
No,
This is
but the
news.
thing is, no. Look at the thing is, you said the guy in the middle, but for me, you are the guy in the middle, so it was a little bit strange. Like, the guy in
Right,
the middle.
sorry.
No
So
worries.
the guy with the green background, all
Yes,
right?
yes.
The guy with the green
Yeah,
background. Yeah, I think I'm gonna spend a couple of days
yeah.
in your beautiful country,
We meet in 2 weeks.
and let's see if I did some improvement, and maybe I can give you some more tips. But I'm not sure. We're still testing. It's a very hard job. I don't want to make a long story.
Yeah,
I will give you more details in the near future as soon as I can.
perfect. And hopefully by the end of next year, it's launched and open for public. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about some other new products that are introduced on the Appelboom website.
New products.
The first one that I would like to mention, which was launched at the beginning of November, it's the Mont Blanc Great Characters Jimi Hendrix edition. David, have you already seen something about it?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it, and I think it looks amazing. I'm always kind of amazed that Mont Blanc does a very good job of bringing a story into their great characters pens, and there's a certain aspect of the clip being the whammy bar on the guitar. It just looks amazing, and I'm not quite sure if it's going to lift like a standard clip, but if you could rotate it kind of slightly to the side, that would be amazing, so that you could do it. And then maybe if there was like a sound element to where when you moved it, there would just like a spring that would kind of go ring, that would be amazing.
That would be a cool feature.
I don't know if it
Kind
does
of
that.
voodoo child.
Yeah, something like that. But I really like the looks of it. I think it looks nice and clean, and I know it looks very similar in style to one of his very famous guitars, and then I even like the little touch of purple at the top. There's a purple ring and so that they kind of have lots of elements that call into different aspects of that person's life, and I enjoyed those.
Yeah. No, Mont Blanc is really good at bringing all the details into one pen, and you can discover every time that you're looking at it another small detail that you can match to the person's life. So that's pretty cool. Another new launch are the two new Kaweco collection pens, the Ruby and the Smooth Saga. And Luca, I always get a lot of compliments about your top 3 pens video that you made for our YouTube channel, because we did a top 3 pens video with a lot of manufacturers, and you were like, I think, the only one that was mentioning, of course, besides Scribo, in your 3 pens, a pen from a different brand with an amazing story behind it. It was the Kaweco, and you told that it was a really important pen also for your brand, because it encouraged new writers
Young
to
generation.
write with it. Yeah, it's for new generation. So I get a lot of compliments, or
True.
at least you get a lot of compliments for that. To be open-minded and think also out of your own brand.
Yeah, no, thank you, but that's how things goes. I mean, it's the reality. Everybody, I mean, in the pen industry should be grateful to these brands like Lamy, Kaweco, or you can add whatever you want. Let me think. Twisby. They bring young generation to handwriting, and potentially, even if 1% of those would try Scribo
That would be
in
great.
20 years, I would be happy for that. So yeah, I mean, they do a great job for us. A backup job for us. They're great. I mean, besides job, they're great. They do a great job.
You need entry-level pens like that because people aren't going
Definitely.
to, they're not going to jump in, and their first pen isn't going to be a Nakaya or one of the great characters Mont Blancs. But you need to have those entry-level pens so that people kind of learn what they like and have something that's fun to use that they enjoy, and then later on in life they can kind of progress to some of the other things.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's the point. That's the point.
Before I'm ending the show, David, is there something that you would like to ask Luca?
Now, it seems like that a lot of your pens are kind of based on the feel look to them, to where they kind of have that same feel style. Do you see ever a departure from that, or do you want to kind of keep with that same kind of rounded style and just do variations on that?
Well, we now carry 3 different designs: the Feel, La Dotta, and Piuma, which is a converter cartridge. And I said before, the Feel is the first collection we made, and it's a kind of bridge that link our past to our present and future. The facets, in a way, it's kind of, we pay homage to our history behind, and it's our flagship collection. I think the challenge for us in the future is stick to our identity, which is very small, but I think it's very strong. And carry on, introduce new material, introduce new filling system. I just told you we are working on it, but really it's very hard for me and for us all to talk about future and picking the right choice without losing what we built so far. I just give you an example. This is an interesting conversation, and maybe this is for the next time. We talk about, okay, and we receive a lot of requests. Why don't you make a Feel or whatever, another pen with steel nib? Good question. It's a good question. It requires a lot of words, a lot of time that we don't have today. But
for another time.
I mean, we do not pretend to have the right answer to these, of course. But I think we have to choose one route, one path, and go through it, knowing that probably we are losing some opportunity, but on the other side we are keeping ourselves as we are.
Yeah, it's important to keep your brand identity and follow.
I think it could be a challenge to folks, because I know there's a number of higher end brands that have we'll just say their entry level pens, and so you have to decide whether or not there's a benefit to having that entry level into your brand that then people will progress with your brand, or if it's to keep, we'll just say, the status and level of your brand at a particular level. It's a interesting business decision to have to make, because you don't want to feel like I don't want to say cheapening the brand, but you don't want to feel like you're doing that with something that is significantly entry level. But those are interesting business decisions to have to make.
But also imagine what is gonna the consequences of reorganize the company to make 10 times the pen we make today if we start making kind of steel nib pens. I mean,
it's a different space.
It's a different business model. It's a different business model. So we will stick to what we are, and we try to do it good.
Perfect. Thank you, Luca. All right, guys, we're running out of time. David, thank you so much for being the co-host this episode, and we will see and hear you in the upcoming episodes on Appelboom Bites podcast.
Yes.
Luca, thank you so much for taking the time and talk about Scribo and explaining everything to us. And it was great having you on the show. One last thing: will you attend the Dutch Pen Show in June?
Definitely, yes. The reason why I didn't come this year.
I know.
I
There,
could.
there, there are more important things in life than pens. Babies are
No,
also
yeah,
one
yeah.
of them.
I
But
was a very close friend's wedding party, so
yeah,
I couldn't say no.
yeah, I know.
But next year, it definitely I will definitely be there. I wanted to be there. I mean,
I know.
and thank you, David, for your time. It's been stimulating. I mean, talking about pens and knowing users' point of view is very interesting. Sometimes it's even more interesting than what we say. I mean,
Sure,
most of the times actually,
definitely.
because at the end of the day, you rule the markets more than us.
Yeah.
Well,
So
thanks.
thank
Yeah,
you.
it's been interesting to learn a little bit more about your brand and your company.
Thank you.
I like to kind of know what's behind things and what makes things tick. It kind of brings it more, more to life, and helps you understand that there's more to it than it just being a pen. So I'm always very
Yeah,
interested into, who's behind the company, and why and what and how, and I kind of answer all of those questions. And that's just a natural curiosity I have. So I have enjoyed learning more about your brand and your company.
thank
It
you.
was definitely a learnful session today. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And if you're watching it through YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss out on an episode ever again. Thank you again, Luca and David, and bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Ciao. Bye bye.